Olarenwaju Suraj. He's here. He's of the Movement Against Corruption. Thank you for coming on today.
My pleasure. Good morning.
Well. Some very salient issues are being raised and will continue to be raised with this judgment, but how they are addressed, if and when some of the issues that pop up. Of course, were you disappointed also with that judgment?
Oh, I was so shocked. I was so helpless. Intensely. I mean, you don't feel the
You
import.
were in court.
Yeah, you don't feel the
You say
import when you are
helpless.
not. I was so helpless.
Were you the
I was so
prosecutor?
motionless. Because I saw Rotimi because what you saw on the TV was actually a child's play from what he actually demonstrated in court, because he was so shocked. And after the judgment, because that was not justice, the judgment was delivered. He had to stand up right in court and then addressing the judge that, my lord, this is unacceptable. I don't know how to even go out there and face my client with this kind of judgment. How do you want to tell Nigerians that this is what is going to these convicts now, so-called, because it was so shocking. And that was the amazing point in the whole judgment. The judge actually started on a very good note that I almost lost control and started clapping in court, because he said, corruption already gave Nigeria a very bad reputation amongst the Committee of Nations. Corruption has subjected Nigerians to hardship and poverty because of people like you who breach trusts that are reposed on them. And on this note,
So those were the preambles.
those were the
from
preambles.
The judge.
Yeah. And on this note, I'm convicting you based on your plea, and I will sentence you to, on the first count charge, 2 years or an option of fine. I also almost lost that beat, just like Rotimi Jacobs did, because he just had 2 years, and I think he started writing something. And until when the judge stopped, then he said, my lord, did I hear you right? Did you say 2 years imprisonment and fine, amazing. The judge started smiling, and he was like, no, or an option of fine. And that was when he said, no, this is unacceptable. And it was so ridiculous. It is so unfortunate that this was the same judge who handed down the judgment in Chief Kenny Martin's case with the police equipment fund that was actually lampooned by the appeal court when he said Kenny Martins really doesn't have a case to answer. This is the same judge. We understand the fact that you're talking about discretion, and that is where the option of fine comes in. The option of fine should at least be commensurate with the crime committed. And that is where the fine is going to be an option that is either going to be stringent for the convicts to meet, or you either straight go to jail. It is not what you just pay like you saw on TV. The man just paid away in a Mercedes Benz in the court. Yeah, and everybody were just looking helpless, and that was what the same thing I said. Because he just probably pulled out the 750 naira from his back pocket or something, and there's no doubt about the fact that he was complicit in 20 billion naira breach and conversion.
As shocking as the judgment is to many people, even lawyers have said same thing. Did the judge act outside the confines of the law?
No, you see, what is said, I mean, somebody said that yesterday, that Lord Nedin said, once you're sitting on trial, you're on trial. The judge was on trial, and he completely lost that process.
How?
As a barometer of the society. The court, and one of the things that our courts needs to realize is the fact that they are also responsible for making laws. And that is the judicial precedents that they set. The fact that you come up with all this kind of judgment, you're making a mockery of not only, we don't even need to start looking at the review of the law and then using that as an escape for them.
But this is the basis upon
which I understand what you said.
Yeah.
The fact that when the revision of the 1999 Constitution as amended is ongoing, we engage that process. Like it said, no doubt about the fact that the lawmakers anticipate that they would find themselves in this position at one point or the other. And that is why they are prescribing this least possible sentence.
Yeah, but the criminal
judge now,
code,
yes,
as the lawyers have pointed out,
yeah,
and our laws prescribes a maximum punishment.
That is what I'm saying. Now it says 2 years. He said he has handed down the 2 years, which means this is a grievous crime. And then he had approbated and reprobated. and then say you get an option of fine of 750. How did it come about the 750,000?
If there are 3 charges, and then just as you pointed out,
and they ran concurrently.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, it was even 250,000. Don't
On
lose
each.
that. On each,
On
it's
3.
250.
Yeah.
The 3 of them making 750.
There
Now
you go.
this is somebody who pleaded guilty and agreed that I actually stole, as a person, free or converted, illegally converted, 3.3 billion naira.
Is it 3.0 or 23?
3.3.
3.0 or 23.3.
E alone. The 19th and 20th count charge were against him as a person. The 19th count charge was involving about 1.36 billion naira. The 20th count charge was involving about 1.7 something billion naira. That is against him alone, against John Yakubu. It is the 18th that involved himself, which is about 20 point something billion naira that involved himself and the 20 others.
Of which he pled guilty.
Which he equally
And he
pled guilty.
to the 3
Yeah,
of
to
them.
the 3 of them.
So each of those counts supposed to take 2 years.
Each of them are supposed to take 2 years. So now, if you're sentencing him to the 2 years, yes, good, according to the law. It says an option of fine. The law couldn't have specified an amount of fine because the law would not anticipate an amount of money that will be involved like this. So in this situation, when he's talking about fine, the first thing you want to actually look at is the people that are involved in this matter are not just the prosecutor, the judge, and the accused. No. What about the victim? What about the state? What about the integrity of the Nigerian people? This is a ridicule.
What
He
if the
didn't
judge
consider all
says
this.
he considers the fact that 32, is it 32? 32 houses forfeited.
Yeah.
323
It's
million.
325 million naira. Let us even
forfeited
restrict
also.
ourselves to 19th and 20th count charge. 3.3 billion naira. What was recovered? 32 houses, both in Gombe and in Abuja. 325 million naira. Put them together, let us say 2 point something billion naira. I think the judge would have reflected the circumstances of that case, assuage the pain and feelings of the Nigerian people and the police pension who have been deprived, many of whom have died of their entitlement, by asking that guy to pay a minimum of 1 billion naira fine.
But the thing
And at
is,
that point in time,
Yeah.
it will either be difficult for him to pay, and then he would go to jail,
Now that
or
is-
he would have paid
even
at
at
that money. And one of the
people
things,
will still say, even if you pay 1 billion naira, some will still say that is still not commensurate with what has happened.
so you can see that
So they're
now, even
asking
that
that-
is still not enough.
Now they are asking that the judge could not have given more than 2 years imprisonment.
No, we're not
because of
talking about the
laws.
2 years. That is what the 2 years. That is why a judge will reflect what is the circumstances surrounding the case. To say the law has said 2 years, but I have been given the power and discretion to impose fine. So I'm going to impose a fine that will not only make you pay back all that you have misappropriated, but then remember, EFCC must have spent equally, only God knows, an amount of money to trace all those properties that you see them tracing. And that was one of the things that we saw in court. You would need to see how graphically they were connecting. I will tell you, these guys are not small criminals.
Let me read the question.
These
comments.
guys, the way they connect.